ナマンナーナマンナーナマンナーナマンナーナマンナーナマンナーナマンナーナマンナーナマンナーナマンダスナマンダスナマンダスナモタサバガバトアラハトサンマサンブダサHomage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one, Buddham Saranam Gacchami Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Sangham Saranam Gacchami I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Kie Butsu Namo Kie Ho Namo Kie So Please join me in Gassho ナモアミダ仏ナモアミダ仏ナモアミダ仏ナマンダブスナマンダブスナマンダブスナマンダブスナマンダブスナマンダブス不傷無祭道 少女三苦名、交際主役難、回避知恵言、名詞根門案、閉塞小悪道、通達全宗門、高僧上満足、異様老実法、日月主樹期、天根普賢、一種解放像、公正功徳法、上大集中、説法施施空、空用一切物、具足種徳本、元年出上満、徳一三概要、如仏無下知、通達未不詳、願学営力、投資最小損、志願や国家、大仙の感動、国書天人、東鎮妙見、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブ、願にしくどく、平等性一切、道本も大心、往生な上面合唱。ナモ阿弥陀仏。ナモ阿弥陀仏。ナモ阿弥陀仏。ナマンダーナマンダーナマンダースナマンダースナマンダースナマンダースナマンダースナマンダースナマンダース。Please join me in Gasho. Shakyamuni, Amida, and the Buddhas in the 10 quarters, all with the same mind, are no more apart from sentient beings of the Nembutsu than shadows from things. Lamp for the latter ages. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandas, Namandas, Namandas.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Sunday service for March the 20th, 2022. And I just would like to kind of get right into it today. As we approach the spring season with Shakyamuni Buddha's birth that is approaching, which we know as the Hana Matsuri service, I think I think the air kind of gets a little bit brighter and as we get into the spring season, especially with COVID kind of letting up a little bit, I think we are kind of feeling excited, and I think we feel a lot of how should I say vigor in how things are going and turning out to be. And as I think about Hanamatsuri, I kind of think about which of course I will go into more detail during Hanamatsuri time. But I think about the little Buddha and the vivacity that he brought with him as he was born in this world in Lumbini's garden. And sometimes, when I think to my family with my son as well, they're all throughout the day because he goes to school. It's very quiet in the household. All is well. There's peace in the house, and then as soon as he comes back from home, right, the place becomes utter chaos, right, and it's like Godzilla coming in and is destroying the peace that's there within the cities. And so when I think about that, I'm very it's invigorating in the one sense, but in another sense, it's very chaotic. There's a lot of mayhem that is taking place within that household. And when I think about my son and some of the things that he does, I recall back when he was even a smaller boy, he used to be rambunctious. He still is, but he kind of runs around and yells for no reason. He starts to scream for no reason, right? He runs around for no reason, and he does random things like doing random cartwheels at certain points of the day. And but what's also interesting though is that he also kind of mimics his parents. So I remember sometimes when we do omairi together, we would do otsutome. We would chant the sutras in front of our the family obutsudan. And he kind of, I do remember, he's a lot better at it now than he was before. But I do remember when he was very small, he would mimic the sounds, right? And he would go in front of the obutsudan and he would say mama, mama, right? Mama, mama. He would say mama, mama, right? Thinking that we are praising all hail the great mama, right? And this is what I believe he thinks is going on inside of his small world, I think, which is very endearing. And it kind of makes sense to him. His mother is his world, right? She feeds him, she cares for him. When he has a fever or isn't feeling well, right? She changes his what diaper back in the day, but now she cares for him and tends to his needs, right? So now it's come to the point where he expects, right, that mama or maybe perhaps even papa, when he's in a good mood, that we will come to kind of take care of him and tend to his needs, right? I remember he used to say "dako dako" all the time, right? And we would oblige. And he would feel much better about himself. So she's the person he turns to when he is frightened or when he is insecure about something. And when he's playing, he might be in his own little world, or when he's looking at his, nowadays it's this iPad and looking at Minecraft and playing in Minecraft and these kinds of things, right? And he's in his own world then. But as soon as something uncertain happens, or something happens where he gets a little bit kind of insecure, then he quickly turns to mama, or he quickly turns to papa for answers and for care and concern. But mama is always there, whether he realizes it or not. She always has her eye on him, making sure he doesn't get hurt. And if he does get hurt, she's worried and concerned about him. And I think in many respects, this dynamic is kind of played out in terms of Amida Buddha and the sentient being, Amida Buddha and myself. Amida Buddha's compassion is always here for us, right? As if a parent's concern, as if a parent is concerned for his or her child. right? Or when a guardian is worried for his or her child. When we go about our daily lives, we don't give a care, or even we're not even aware this kind of compassion of Amida Buddha's great working, right? We go about and live our lives thinking that we have control of our own lives and that we are going to be okay, that we do not need anything like Amida Buddha's great compassion or things of this sort, right? But there are those times when we get frightened. There are those times when we get worried or are unsure, right? We are hesitant of the world that we are living in. We do not like what we see. We do not know where to turn to. And that is when we should recall the compassionate voice of Amida Buddha calling out to us, letting us know that we are not alone. That voice is the Nembutsu. It is the voice of Namo Amida Butsu. In a famous quote, it says, the Nembutsu alone is true and real, right? The Nembutsu alone is true and real. This comes up in the Tanisho, right? That Shinran Shonin is said to have stated and is recorded by one of his disciples. The Nembutsu is the only constant in this world. It is home base. It is the North Star. And with this, you will always have your bearings straight. In many ways, all of us are still children, still unsure of this world. Right? We say to ourselves, fake it till you make it, right? There's this common phrase, fake it till you make it. And this is the idea that we act like we know everything there is to know until we actually do become successful and respected, right? It's a common phrase that is used in our, about our careers and things. But to the, and to the outside, it seems like we always know what we do, but in the inside, we are very unsure. We are very uncertain, but we have to make it seem like we know what we are doing. We have to make it seem like we know what we are talking about, right? Fake it till you make it, right? That's the phrase as it goes. But the question that Jodo Shinshu asks is, do we ever really make it, right? We are always faking it, are we not? Right? The Nembutsu teaching tells us, you do not have to put up a front. You do not have to fake it. It's okay to not know. It's okay to be unsure. Right? It's okay to have doubts, right? Come as you are, right? You are fine the way that you are. And this is the grounding of the Nembutsu teaching. Once there was an astronaut who went to space on an expedition for a few months, and it was a Russian astronaut. And when he comes back, this reporter asks him in an interview, he asks, what's the one thing that you're happy about after coming home and walking or being here back on Earth, right? On Mother Earth. What's the one thing that you're very happy to have come back to? To which he replies, I'm happy to have a ground to walk on. I'm happy to have a ground to walk on. I'm happy that there is this earth to walk on, is what he replies, right? And so, being afloat all while in space where there's no gravity, he was never firmly grounded. He was always kind of wandering and meandering, right? And I could see how this can be, at first it's kind of cool and kind of fun perhaps, but after a while, it gets very tiring, right? The things that you expect to happen, like putting a cup down, simple thing like that, won't happen, right? And so there's this, the mind is constantly in this sense of stress a little bit, right? Because it's in a different environment, right? So he explained that the one thing that he enjoyed most while being back, surprisingly, was this gravity of all things, right? This gravity that kept him grounded to this earth. I thought that was a really interesting answer. I think we too kind of are similarly like this astronaut who's floating in space, right? We are right now floating around, meandering in the world of delusion, or what Buddhism calls this world of saha, right? Saha world. We search for things like happiness. We search for things like meaning and motivation, right? And hope. But once we think we've found it, right, that thing that we hold on to, right, vanishes or changes, and we are forced to keep searching, continue our search for something, right? We go here, right? We go there, right? Then we come back. And maybe it wasn't this, and we go to something else. We try something new, and then we go to something else. We are constantly wandering in this world, constantly meandering in this world. And our hearts and minds are never settled. But for the astronaut, he came to understand that the one thing that kept him grounded, namely this gravity, was something that was there with him the whole time he was on Earth. But he took that for granted. It wasn't until it went missing that he began to appreciate gravity and what it provided for him. And in much the same way, the Nembutsu teaching grounds us amidst this hectic and chaotic world that we live in. But the thing is that it's always here for us, but we don't notice it. We don't pay attention to it. As a matter of fact, even if we are told it, we oftentimes ignore it. We push it off to the side because we think, who needs this, right? It doesn't matter to me, right? It doesn't pay for my bills, or it doesn't, help me to take care of my taxes, right? And these kinds of things, right? What benefit does it have to me? What use is it to me, right? So we oftentimes overlook the Nembutsu teaching, brush it aside, and we think that it's something that we don't need until we come to the end of our lives, or that when someone close to us, a loved one, is dying, maybe we will turn to it, right? But other than that, we always think that it's something that we don't need until later on in life, right? It's a common mistake that we often make. But nevertheless, the Nembutsu teaching is here for us. Whether we realize it or not, whether we ignore it or not, it's always there for us, right? And it's always there trying to connect us to this world of absolute truth, the world of Amida Buddha's great compassion. It is always here for us. And it is through these times that we turn to the Nembutsu teaching, perhaps through the death of a loved one or through a traumatic experience. Perhaps we do turn to the Nembutsu teaching. And when we do, those are the times that make us, right, appreciate this teaching and to have this teaching in our lives. Those are the times when we see the value of having this profound teaching in our lives. The Nembutsu grounds us in this world of delusion that can sway us in many different directions. Night or day, sunshine or rain, during times of war or times of peace, whether the Republicans are in control of the government or the Democrats are in control of the government, whether we are in Japan or in America, whether times are good or times are bad, the Nembutsu alone is something that we can turn to. And this is what Shinran Shoni relied on. It is what Eshin-sama, his wife, relied on. It is what all of us can turn to seek a path of spiritual liberation. It is through this teaching of the Nembutsu, of Amida Buddha's great compassion. And with that, I would like to end today's Dharma message. Thank you very much for your time. Please join me in Gassho. Shakyamuni, Amida, and the Buddhas in the 10 quarters, all with the same mind, are no more apart from sentient beings of the Nembutsu than shadows from things. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandas, 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 namandas. Ryogemon. I rely on Amida Buddha with my whole heart for the attainment of nirvana. I give up trust in my powerless self and abandon all practices that rely on the false ego. I know that because of Amida's boundless compassion, I am assured of rebirth the very moment I put my trust in Amida. I call the name Namo Amida Butsu in happiness and thanksgiving for the gift of the universal vow. I am grateful for Shinran Shonin and his followers for leading me to this profound teaching. I will try to live throughout my life according to the way of Nembutsu that they have taught. 両下門諸々の造業雑種自力の心を振り捨てて一心に阿弥陀如来我らが今度の一大事の御所御助け僧らへと頼み申して候。頼む一年の時往生一条御助け事情と存じこの上の称名はご恩報者と存じ喜び申し候。この恩断り弔問申し訳候こと、ご解散承認、ご出世のご恩、次第相乗の全知識の朝からざるご関係のご恩と、ありがたく存じ候。この上は定めを課せられる恩を規定、一号を限り守り申すべく候。ナマンダブスナマンダブスナマンダブスナマンダブスナマンダブスナマンダブス。